he has a Hall of Fame resume, and he technically hasn't even entered his prime yet. I think besides Wembanyama, because it's his second season, I think Tatum has the best case. Like, if you made me choose right now, I'm choosing Jayson Tatum, and it's a very easy decision for me. I think he holds himself in a respectable regard.
GMLB family. Last week, I was unfortunately unable to come to the podcast due to an unforeseen technological error. It made me sad. It made all of you sad. And you guys, you killed it. You were asked to help, and you did so. So, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you so much. However, you guys were misled. From my understanding, you were told to fund a new computer. Well, all that was the problem, turns out, was that my cat chewed through my Mac cord. So, that being said, I will not be refunding the remaining $830 that was sent for me to buy a new MacBook. That is all. Thank you very much, GMLB family.
Yes, GMLB family, thank you for for funding Daniel's new computer. And welcome back to another episode of Good Morning Let's Basketball. My name is Mike Miles, and I am with my co-host Victor, Kevin, and Daniel. And today we have a single topic. And with not much going on in the NBA, there's been some stuff actually. There's been some KD stuff. There's been some injury stuff. But we're just gonna gloss over that until more materializes. But let's start with a moment of silence. It's been a while since we've done a moment of silence on the GMLB podcast, but let's give a GMLB patented moment of silence to the Mavericks organization, probably Nico Harrison specifically. Um, Kyrie went down with an ACL injury. As a former Kyrie hater, and now Kyrie forgiver, um, I genuinely felt bad for that, and now they are without Luka Doncic, who was traded at the deadline, Kyrie Irving with an ACL injury, PJ Washington's out indefinitely, Gafford's out indefinitely, Anthony Davis is out indefinitely, and Derek Lively is out indefinitely. So you know what? Let's pivot. This moment of silence is actually for Klay Thompson, who got to the Mavericks expecting to compete and got a knuckle sandwich instead. So, fellas, let's give him a 5-second moment of silence here, and we'll jump back into the episode. But GMLB family, we're here today to talk to you guys about the new face of the NBA. With so many debates and discussions going on around the NBA community about who the face of the NBA is and who it should be and who it can't be, that argument has also been made. Shout out Jayson Tatum. Let's just go through the top 5 cases for who can be the new face of the NBA, and we'll jump into some honorable mentions as well. So, fellas, let's start with honorable mentions for who we think the new face of the NBA can/should be. And I guess I'll pass it to Kevin. Kevin, who do you have as an honorable mention on this list?
First honorable mention that comes to mind is what's supposed to be the second coming of Bron, but is looking like the second coming of Charles Barkley. We're looking at you, Zion. When you're on the floor, you're great. You can't be missed, but you are great. Had his first career triple double the other day. That's a tongue twister right there, saying that fast. He's been playing well when he's on the floor, but I mean, when this guy was drafted, he was the hot topic. He was like sliced bread, but we just haven't really seen him that much, and that's a shame. So that's my first honorable mention for face of the league. It was supposed to be this guy. I think the weight and the gumbo caught up to him a little bit. He could still get there, but we're just gonna have to see, man.
Do you guys think with Zion, him just being in New Orleans, plays a factor of like having a case against being the face of the league?
Mm, I don't think so. I
I'll
think
say
the roster they have is pretty sick when they are healthy. So I would say no. I don't think it's a factor.
big keyword on the when, but I think one factor that I had in mind of why a player might not be the face of the league, it's I know Zion's not an international player, but do we think the NBA would allow an international player to be the face of the league? Not counting Wemby, who we're going to get into later because he's different. I feel like they wouldn't allow that. Or maybe the broadcast guys on TNT wouldn't allow it. We know how they are.
Mm, I don't necessarily think that they wouldn't allow it. I see the point in wanting it to be an American made like face of the league, but to be honest, the foreign talent is really kind of outshining the American talent a bit, at least in the current state of the NBA. So I have no problem with foreign talent being the face of the league. Luka isn't the face of the league, but he's like up there as well with Wemby. So I don't know. I personally don't have a problem with it. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think like you guys said, there is a little bit of that thought in the back of Adam Silver's head saying, obviously, I want the face of the league to be American. But at the same time, I don't think it's something that like is avoidable. And like you said, Kevin, I mean, Wemby is coming, but even after that, if there's a global, so and honestly, Shea's a good example of someone that can combine like, because I was gonna say like with oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now. Uh, Center. Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on him?
Jokic?
Yeah,
Jokic.
Jokic. Jesus Christ.
Bro drew a
Jesus.
blank on
I just
Jokic.
kept, dude. My brain just kept getting spans with Luka Doncic over and over and over again. Um, but
That's fair.
anyway, like with the superstar like Jokic, he's a lot more quiet, and that's what I think we've seen a lot of times with these foreign guys. But Shea is one of those players that encompasses a lot of that American, coolness or whatever you want to call it. And I
Or
think that
farming.
aura farming, honestly, it is aura farming. So in that case, I think you're gonna need a little bit of that to be the face of the league and it be okay with commissioner. Like if Shea becomes the league's future, then I think that's something they'd be okay with.
For as far as like an international player being the face of the league, I definitely think it's possible. I just think the biggest factors that play into the face of the league is personality and also your resume. And I think two of the guys who have that so far that are international players are Luka or Jokic, but I just don't think Jokic can really be the face of the league with the personality that he has shown, and everybody's saying he doesn't care about basketball and this and that. Yeah, it's just like another way of like finding hate towards him. I feel like in that conversation, but I definitely do think Luka has a strong case at being the face of the league.
Yeah,
Um,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say like because we're talking about the honorable mentions, I'll name another one: LaMelo Ball, a fan favorite, a Bleacher Report favorite, a Clip Farm favorite. You know, LaMelo Ball is very good at basketball. That much is very clear. He's very flashy with the ball, and his handle is unreal. I remember texting Miles like after watching one of the Hornets games and being like, there's just something about watching him that's special, and I guess that's the way that people feel when they watch Kyrie, which I do feel too. But like, I don't know, it's just you see something like that, and you're like, oh my God, I could, you know, who can do that with a basketball? And I think LaMelo is one of those players that separates himself in that aspect. The only thing that I concern myself or that concerns me about him is his long-term goals. Like he seems very concerned in, you know, looking cool and being a good basketball player in the now. I wonder how much of that can translate into I want to build a legacy in the NBA. I want to win championships. I want to have you, you know, an MVP season, whatever it is. Um, or really switch it up on us and become Depoy or something crazy like that. But you know, I don't know. I do like LaMelo. He could be the future of the league, but as of right now, I don't necessarily see him as one of these. And I think he is an honorable mention, but not on the list for a reason.
Definitely gets the press from the media. I think everybody likes to see a cool little LaMelo highlight. I feel like just watching the Hornets game in general, you're definitely going to get a highlight. It's just unfortunate that he's on the Hornets and he kind of still has like that AAU play style. I mean, watching LaMelo ball in his first year in high school to now, he plays the exact same, which I think is crazy. That he's not, I don't want to say able to get away with it in the league, but the fact that he's still able to play like himself at the highest level. You can call it empty stats, which I kind of lean that way a little bit because the defense isn't questioned and the team isn't very good, but you still have to go out there and ball out. But could he be the potential face of the league? I think so. On the right team. I don't know about Charlotte again if they just put together some pieces and some winning seasons. Absolutely.
See, the thing with LaMelo that I feel like is holding him back right now is he did struggle with a lot of ankle injuries recently, and this is a season where we've seen him like really have a lot healthier of a season than the past couple seasons. And he was a rookie of the year. He was a former All-Star. He was snubbed for being an All-Star this season. When did being an like your team success factor into being an All-Star? Has that always
Um,
been a thing?
I think it's more expanded now because of the parity in the NBA. There's so many good, talented players that I think they have to do that, but it's always been a thing, just not to the extent that it was or I guess it would be technically this year for this year's All-Stars.
Seen it happen to some people in the past too, like Trae Young struggles to make the
Yeah.
All-Star team every single year. Devin Booker, when the Suns were kind of on the come up and he was like kind of riding that line being a fringe All-Star, he wasn't even making it. He's barely making it now. So I feel like over the course of the past few years, it has become kind of a little bit of a standard. And some of like the higher seeding teams, maybe like the second and third option, will get that All-Star vote. I mean, we saw it this year with J-Dub making the All-Star team, and he wasn't like a sub in or reserve. Like, no, this dude made the team, like made the All-Star team. Which I know some people had some things to say about it, me being included. So I was like, hey, he is on the best team. It makes sense to throw the second guy out there, I guess. But then again, like, look who we're leaving out.
Yeah, I think there's a stat, and I can't remember exactly how many teams, but I think it's roughly 9 teams that in the NBA history have only had one All-Star went on the championship team. There's very few with only one. And I mean, I think the most recent one was Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. He was the only All-Star on that team. So they do definitely favor for the one seeds, giving at least 2 All-Stars.
Shout out the Atlanta Hawks that 1 year sending four. It could have been Cleveland
Yeah.
this year, but they I don't want to say they hoed Jared Allen, but I don't think they were trying to do that again. But I don't think anybody would have complained, you know. I don't think anybody minds seeing Teague, Corver, Millsap, and Horford in the same All-Star game on the same team. Basically, a quarter of the team was the Atlanta Hawks. That's actually really funny when you put it into that perspective.
Um, yeah, let's pivot to the next guy on this list, who is the last guy we have on our honorable mention list, and that is Cade Cunningham. And yes, recency bias has taken over GMLB LLC on this podcast. Cade's having an incredible season. The Pistons are starting to build their foundation and get their footing. Fellas, I'm going to be honest. I know we put Cade on here. I don't think Cade will ever be the face of the league. I don't really have a case to make for Cade.
I don't really think so either. I mean, I do want to say the recency bias is justified. He's incredible, and the Pistons are looking solid right now. They actually look like a respectable team. Again, just seeing him in post game interviews, I think he just lacks the flair, and unfortunately, that matters. I mean, just look at like Giannis and Jokic over the past 4 years, how they've been dominating, each of them winning MVPs, each of them winning championships. During that time, nobody was calling those guys the face of the league. Not putting Cade in the conversation with those two. I mean, I think he could very much well be on his way, but he kind of has like that nonchalant, laid back attitude that not a lot of people want to see. They want to see more of like the Ant Edwards, having that killer mentality. I don't think he has that. He's a great hooper, but as far as being the face of the league, especially out of Detroit, I don't know. I don't love it, but maybe I'd love to see it.
Have you guys seen
Yeah.
his?
Go ahead, Vic.
I was just going to ask. Have you guys seen his nickname, the Paradox?
I have not seen that. Why?
Saw like an Instagram post today of like people like talking about like the funniest nicknames in the NBA, funniest like most random nicknames in the NBA. Maxie had a funny one. I can't remember it, but they had Jaren Jackson Jr. They call him the alliteration,
Yeah,
which sucks as a
yeah,
nickname.
it does.
That's zero effort.
That's
I feel like 80% of people don't even know what an alliteration is or stands for, but whatever.
Yeah, that sucks. I've never heard that, and
That's a horrible nickname.
it's probably a good thing that I haven't heard that.
I only
Wait,
knew because of an Instagram post. That's it.
what is the paradox? Like, what is that? Am I missing it? What is like the meaning of that?
I'm looking it up right now. Daniel, go ahead and say what you were gonna say until I find this.
Wait, you brought it up and didn't know what it meant.
I
Wait.
just, yeah, I just want to get your guys' thoughts on it.
We need to come up with what our NBA nicknames would be
Ooh.
soon on the GMLB pod. But no, I agree with you guys. I don't necessarily think Kate Cunningham is going to be the face of the NBA within the next few years. But honorable mention to him because this guy keeps on getting better, and I think that is reason enough to put him on here. If his ceiling continues to raise and he improves season by season and gets out of Detroit, then he's got a shot. But like you guys said, I think there is a lot of things lacking there before he would be able to be the face of the league.
Yeah. Um, so apparently Cade is called the paradox because of the seemingly contradictory combination of his physical size and playing style. So I guess he's really big and can pass the ball. Therefore, paradox.
Nicknames are just, I feel like they're trying to get too clever with nicknames nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Are all the
It's
cool, maybe all the cool ones are taken or something? I don't know.
they're trying to get too clever to the point where it's now it's reversing. It's too simple.
Yeah.
Some of the fantasy basketball names were kind of cool. Like I think Alperen Sengun had Alperenheimer,
Sergi Blakya is a classic. That's a classic fantasy nickname.
but I know Jason Tatum, his nickname on Basketball Reference is the Anomaly.
The anomaly.
Yep.
Could you tell me why? Or are you Googling it right
I
now?
have no idea, dude.
How do you even know that? Did you just look it up one
Because
time?
no, it literally just popped up when I was looking up why Kate is the paradox, and it said Jason Tatum, the anomaly, and then it was a meme. It said absolute ass, like
I've seen that.
I've not seen that. That's funny. But when you were looking up like the meaning of Cades, again, I saw the IG post with Maxie's. He had a weird one. I looked it up on Google, and it said his nickname is the Boston Killer, and it was given to him by Embiid in a post game interview. I don't really remember Philadelphia killing Boston, let alone Maxie. Maybe I slept through it. I don't think so. I always thought it was the other way around. But I guess that's one of his nicknames given to him by Embiid. So that's out there.
I'll
Embiid probably
throw.
wasn't even playing in the game.
Yeah, they beat him like one time.
It sounds like you want to call him the Boston Bomber, but like take a step back before you let that one fly.
It's not a
But
bad nickname.
um, I'll say this. Have you guys seen the short of the Team USA from last Olympics going through their nicknames? And they all call Bam Bametrius. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Because JaVale McGee, like in the Olympics before, was like, "What's your real name?" It's probably Bametrius or something.
Did he say Bametrius or Bamonte?
Bamonte, one of them. Bamonte, probably. No, that
I like
sounds more
the
familiar. It's like
Yeah.
Bametrius. There were a couple of them, but it was like Bametrius, Bamonte. It was like they were trying to,
Demetrius Adebayo.
they were throwing like endings on Bam to figure out what his real name would be.
And he was just looking at all of them like, nah, my name's Bam.
What does that stand for? It stands for something.
I don't think so, man. I feel like
Bamonte.
No, it actually stands for something.
Address.
No, that's his
I,
real name. But
Oh.
Bam is like Bam itself is it's a acronym. Oh man, what did he
what
say? By any
does
means, by any means. That's what it the acronym is. That's what he told JaVale McGee. Um,
Um,
by any means.
I
that's
just
pretty hard.
I looked it up. It says he's nicknamed Bam because he resembled the character Bam Bam Rubble from the Flintstones when he was a baby.
No, bro, that's that AI overview answer.
Is
You
it
gotta go to the
actually?
you gotta go to the
The Google
logical
answer.
No,
source.
he even says it on USA Today.
I'm looking at the same web page as you. I'm just scrolling down. No, I've never heard the Flintstones thing, but I have heard the by any means thing. So
Okay.
I don't know. He probably told it. I mean, Bam said both. He said it resembles the Flintstones and it resembles the what he told JaVale McGee. We are really off topic.
Yeah.
We should
Demetrius.
we we should probably just jump back into to what we're here for. I don't know how we let that get so out of hand. It's because I'm not I don't have this written in front of me anymore. Okay.
Next spelling bee. That's gonna be one of the names.
Bamonte.
Demetrius Adebayo or Bamonte Adebayo.
Uh all right, fellas, let's get into who do we want to talk about first on this list? I'll let anyone choose, but we got five names here that have genuine cases, and let's make their case and talk about why it may work and why it doesn't. So anyone could start.
I'll start it off with I'm trying to think of it in chronological order or the order you sent it in the text. We'll start with Tatum. Fresh off of a championship, I feel like this is appropriate. Was in the MVP
Mhm.
race earlier this year for like the first time that I remember when he definitely should have been. A lot
Mhm.
of people have strong opinions on Tatum, whether he is like an actual top five player of the league, whether he could be a face of the league. I think he's definitely talented enough to be the face of the league. I don't think that's up for debate. People will argue with it, but people will argue with everything. When it comes to being the actual face of the league, and I hate to reference this like I did earlier, but I feel like the lack of kind of vocalness and like trash talking and dare I say killer mentality might be what hinders a lot of people in this kind of conversation because like people like to see someone be loud, people like to see trash talk. I feel like in a lot of cases it could be John Morant, but for a lot of reasons it is not. For a lot of reasons I got him in trouble. I feel like that's what people like kind of like to see, something to like talk about. So talent wise and the city he's in, play style, absolutely. But as far as character, at the end of the day, I feel like that's what is going to hinder him from being the actual face of the league. And people like to hate on him.
I gotta say, so this whole like, for lack of a better term, aura argument, right? Everyone wants to see like charismatic killer mentality, right? When has LeBron or Steph Curry been known as a trash talker, first off? And when have they been like loud and obnoxious? Like, where did this argument come from? Because the two current faces of the league, neither of them are like that. So why does everyone want to root for like Ant and say, "Oh, he's just so charismatic. He's a killer." But like LeBron and Curry like aren't that charismatic. They're actually pretty quiet and like reserved in their interviews and all that. And like I just don't understand why people because Tatum is more similar to Curry and LeBron, I think, than Anthony Edwards is. But everyone is like, nah, Ant just fits face of the league better. So like, do you guys have opinions on like what I'm saying here? Because I feel like that makes a lot of sense, this counterpoint, and no one talks about it.
I think one thing that comes to my mind right away might be like the presence on the court. And I hate to result to this because this isn't the only reason, but one thing that immediately popped in my head could be like celebrations after like a big play. Everyone knows LeBron's, they the crowning, the step thing he does, can't remember the name of it. Curry, obviously, after making a 45-foot three, he'll do the sleep thing. I feel like kind of just like your character on the court in those big moments and being in those big moments a lot can kind of put you over that hump for like not being so loud and vocal in like interviews or social media or whatever. So I think on court presence in those big moments is something that immediately came to my mind.
So the thing with that is the night night celly like is relatively new. Like that was in the 2022 finals. So like Curry hasn't even had that celebration for like
He
that long, and LeBron doesn't even use the silencer anymore.
It's tragic.
but Curry does have a lot of good celebrations. Like the ring me was sick. Um,
Also 2022.
But also, what we saw Curry
yeah,
do in
but
2015, we've never ever seen before. So I think a lot of people kind of like
yeah,
gravitated towards that and like really like to watch it just because it was like, holy crap, like what is this guy doing? Like, where did this
Hmm.
come from? So I feel like that kind of also might have pushed him over the hump too.
well,
Yeah,
he
I feel like
also
that's a better argument. But go ahead, Vic.
no, I was gonna say he also changed like the NBA as well with all this like 3-point shooting and everything. Like if you go globally and look at fans, everybody loves Steph Curry. He's one of the most loved players in the NBA. His jersey has been top 5 in jersey sales since 2015, and I mean that's why he's one of the faces of the league with LeBron in that conversation. But I know Daniel had something he wanted to say earlier, so I'm gonna let him speak.
Yeah, so I mean, Jayson Tatum is a phenomenal basketball player, and I think that there is so much potential there for him to be the face of the league. But one issue that I think is the most glaring and the most talked about is obviously that he plays for the Boston Celtics. They're a good team, right? If not for the fact that they have Jaylen Brown, they have other good players that just help contribute to his success and the team's success in a way that takes away from him separating himself as like the best player, in my opinion. He is the best player, but I think there's always people that can kind of pull away from that with that conversation of the Celtics are very good, right? Um, that being said, I think the biggest reason, kind of going off of what you said, Miles, because I do agree with you. I think that it's not really necessary for a player to be loud or to be aggressive or to be a trash talker. It's just about, to me, them being themselves. I think when it comes to like LeBron, Steph Curry, Kobe, Jordan, like any of these players, they're being very natural about the way that they are on camera and on the floor too. I'm not kidding when I say this. I really do think that like Tatum struggles a little bit to find like who he is. You know what I mean? Like from the "we did it" thing, which I don't know if you guys saw that video of like him getting like, I don't want to say clown, but in a way clowned about it. Like they were like, "Oh, we did it," and like he jokes, like he kind of like has to like laugh with them about it because he did get trolled for that, but also in so many other ways. Like the people had the joke about him texting Kobe and Kobe being like, "Lose this number." Um,
That
it's
is
not
that is a
it's not
good one.
just
I
it's not
forgot about that.
it's not just me. Other people do feel this way too, of like him struggling to find his identity a little bit. If he just owned who he was as like the phenomenal basketball player that he is, I think he would find a lot more success in being the face of the league. And I do think that he does. I don't think he needs to be vocal or loud about it. I just think he just doesn't need to be corny. And that's unfortunately the word that I tie in with him, is that he's being corny a lot. Um and I just really quickly wanted to say too, like when I compare like him and Wemby are two players that I would consider to be like quieter than, let's say, Anthony Davis, and less aura farming than Shea. But Wemby is gonna do special things on the court, and people are gonna love him because he's just proving everything he needs to, and he's his own person. But that's it. I don't know.
You meant
Man,
Anthony Edwards, right?
I was gonna say, I'm
What did
assuming
I
he
say?
meant.
Davis? Did I say Davis?
Yeah.
Jesus, sorry.
bro just made a perfect, clear point and then ended it with, but that's it. I don't know. Like, bro. No, you make a lot of good points.
Mhm.
Tatum is corny, kind of. Not, I mean, to me, not really. I think it's overhyped. Tatum's like the modern Devin Booker, where like everyone just loves to hate on him
Mm.
because they think he's soft or whatever. And I will say that I think Tatum has done a lot less corny things than Devin Booker has, but um see, my thing is like he has a Hall of Fame resume and he technically hasn't even entered his prime yet. I think besides Wembanyama, because it's his second season, I think Tatum has the best case. Like, if you made me choose right now, I'm choosing Jayson Tatum, and it's a very easy decision for me. I think he holds himself in a respectable regard. You know, we're not having any Ja Morant situations with guns on social media. He's humble, he's reserved, he's quiet, like he gets loud, like he has his celebrations, he screams, he has like his little kiss of death celebration if we're going that route, but like he really is a resemblance of a young LeBron in terms of how he carries himself. Also, like the whole Deuce Tatum like father figure thing, I think is like a really good, respectable look for him. Not saying that that makes his case or anything, but it's just an example of a guy who you can trust in that light. Like he doesn't have any controversial comments. Like Jaylen Brown, his teammate, won Finals MVP over him. There was never any drama. He was super handled the situation extremely well with Team USA. Like you just can't. The guy's a class act. Like you can't say enough about how he conducts himself. And for that reason, like plus the Hall of Fame resume, that should be the face of the league.
What what would be your rebuttal to the team conversation of people saying, because like the comparison that I would make, or the parallel that I would make, is like Jordan and Pippen, right? At any point, where how many of the fans were saying, is Pippen better than Jordan, or even just, how good is Jordan if he doesn't have Pippen, which was a conversation. But I want to, like, do you have a rebuttal for like that
My
side?
my rebuttal is there's a stigma that Jaylen Brown was like way better than Jason Tatum in the finals. He really wasn't. They really were like pretty much on even plane of affecting the game. It could have gone to either of them and nobody would have been mad. Honestly, I think most people expected it to go to Tatum. So like I don't like the fact that everyone uses that as an argument because they themselves, I bet before it went to Jaylen Brown, thought Jason Tatum deserved it. But then it goes to Jaylen Brown, and all of a sudden everyone is tearing down Jason Tatum about how his teammate won it over him. And like, bro, like, I don't even think that's that big of a deal. Like, he's still the best player on the best team in the NBA. He just didn't have as good of a final series because he averaged what, like two less points? Like it was really that close. So I don't think even if Jaylen Brown won it, I don't think anyone is doubting that Jason Tatum is the best player on the team. Like he clearly is.
Well, for the longest time, we saw that with Curry when he didn't win Finals MVP until 2022.
Yeah, that's an even better point.
Yeah,
Like
I always thought Finals MVPs were a little bit of an overrated achievement, but then again, a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, Curry just moved up so much more because he won a Finals MVP," rather than talking about, "Oh, he won his fourth ring." It's like, no, that's a lot more impressive than winning the Finals MVP. I always thought it was a little bit of an overrated of a achievement. It's sick to win. Don't get me wrong. Like you were the best player at the best series against ideally the best other team in the league. Yeah, it's sick to win. Don't get me wrong. Now we have conference finals MVPs too. And I feel like it kind of just like, all right, let's just have a first round MVP at this point. Play in
Play-in.
MVP. Uh,
Bubble MVP was a thing. Don't forget.
we have in season tournament or
Oh
NBA
no.
Cup MVP now. Didn't Dame win that?
NBA
Yeah.
Cup, NBA Cup Conference MVP, and then NBA Cup Finals MVP.
Group A MVP. Like I don't know. I feel like the award is just a little bit diluted. I mean, Jordan has 6. That's cool, but that was rage bait there. It didn't really work. But I don't know. I feel like I kind of rest my case at the Tatum argument.
Did you guys see that statistic that Jordan had 173 40-point games with seven less seasons, and I think LeBron still has 83 or 87.
I did
That
not see
number,
that, so I
that
can't
number
really.
shocked me.
So I can't. I
It's
did not
not
see that.
really.
I didn't see that, so I can't really back you up or shoot you down, and that makes me mad. So I'm just gonna shoot you down. Who cares? No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, no. Honestly, who cares? I didn't mean to segue.
This is me loading the silver bullet of this argument in, and that is the players are better. We're not playing
Yeah.
plumbers and firemen, and I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care. But Jordan in
So
today, he's not doing that. He's just not. He's going to be good. He's going to be a Hall of Famer still, but he's not going to do that. He's not going to do what he did. That's all.
Yeah, he'll have
Both
Jackson Hayes instead of Bill Cartwright.
should we
yeah.
order these on most to least likely to be the future?
They will
Probably
have to
at
get
the
through
end.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
at the
let's
end.
get through the list first, and then blind rank them.
I'm kind of upset you picked Tatum first because this was my pick to be like the face of the league. So everyone else now, I unfortunately just have to tear down. No, I'm kidding. I'll make their case.
All right,
But,
next up,
but
Wemby.
you know my vote. Dude, okay, we need to save Wemby. Let's go. Let's go somewhere else
Let's
next.
go. Well, let's go with the current front runner for MVP, who I think will and probably should win it this year. Let's talk about Shai.
Mhm. Let's talk. Um,
He has the aura.
I was
All right,
really
that did
hoping.
it for me.
I was really hoping that like Aura just like wouldn't be a factor today.
It was, but Victor also likes Jalen Hurts, so I think Victor has a type.
A sorority white girl.
Vic's got a type.
Bro,
I realized that on Super Bowl Sunday
Oh man.
when he really wanted Jalen Hurts to win.
he's a good guy, man. He's very
You're not
humble.
Oh
denying it.
yeah.
He
He's a
fucking,
good guy.
he's a
I mean, it
man
is
of
what it is,
God.
man. You like what you like, and we don't judge. But
All right.
as far as Shea, the character, the fits, even the peanut butter one, the blacked out cyber beast, he's got it in that. In that, I guess, icon, if you want to call it there. He has that. Play style, he's right there too. I mean, dude's tearing it up. I mean, how many 50-point games has this guy had in like the past month? Like 4?
I think 4, yeah. I was gonna say
Like that's
he also has a current streak of 20 plus consecutive games. I think it's like 46 is the number. The next closest is I think Jalen Brown. I can't really remember the stat. I'm trying to find it right now.
I was not expecting that. But as far as I mean, he's probably gonna win MVP this year. I mean, a lot of people argued that he should have won it last year, and maybe they're right. But I think people were wanting to see if it was maybe a fluke of the Thunder actually being that good. It's definitely not, even with missing Chet for the longest, adding Caruso, having Isaiah Hartenstein. They're definitely legit. He's the leader of that team. You could say he's the best player in the league. But then again, it goes back. You want a Canadian guy as the face of the league? Or are we taking Cooper Flag?
Yeah, I think now, don't get me wrong, Shea is fun to watch, but I just don't think he has the moments that for sure Tatum, but some of these other guys have that we'll talk about. I just like when you think about a Shea moment, what Like genuinely, what comes to your mind first? I'm
Spin
interested.
move,
Besides a free throw.
spin move, fade
I,
away.
Okay,
I'd
not
probably
not a
say
move, like a moment. Like
I'd probably say in game one last year against the Pelicans to ice the game, he had like that spin move, like floater, the and one. I feel like I'm the only one that remembers that because I saw him make it and I was like, this is bullshit because
you
my bet
probably
didn't hit and
are.
I remember it. I probably am. So, but as far as like the guy stuffs the stat sheet, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's doing anything like super duper incredible or something we haven't seen before in the league
Mhm.
already. I feel like that's maybe what the league is looking for,
Yeah.
which kind of foreshadows my pick later on. But we don't have to talk about that. We're talking about SGA right now.
I think if he makes it to the finals this year, he doesn't have to win, but if he makes a finals berth, I think that's going to do a lot for his case. Just seeing, and he was successful last year, don't get me wrong, but he needs to be successful this year and he needs to go to the finals. Like there's no reason he shouldn't go to the finals, especially with like the Mavericks this year being what they are. He needs to go to the finals. The Lakers are the second seed. They could kill the Lakers. So if he somehow loses before the final stage this year, I that's a big hit on his case. But if he makes it, there's a moment where it's your first finals. Like we remember when KD went to his first finals and played the Heat, big moment for him. And a lot of people will say like, Shea plays for OKC. OKC is not a big market. I would argue we're going to get into Ant later that Minnesota is a way worse market to be in than OKC is. OKC is not the best situation for the face of the league, but it's not a bad one. We've seen KD hasn't been like, depending on how you define face of the league, KD is in that conversation during that time. So we can see players from minor organizations make it. Um, but again, we need to see Shea have a moment that isn't just scoring 30 points a night. And he
Like
like this season has helped because he got the one seed. Obviously, they're a great team, but besides stat sheet stuffing, we either need to see him get an MVP for sure because it's still in debate with Jokic, but we need to see him win the MVP, and I want to see him make the finals. We're talking face of the league here. The bar is high.
Bar's pretty high, but I feel like if Shea doesn't make the finals this year, I'm not too convinced if that worsens his case a lot because it took Tatum a handful of years to get to the finals, and when he got there, that was like a really big moment for him and the Boston Celtics when they got there. Playing the Warriors. Is it truly a dynasty? How well is he going to play? And then the amount of times that Tatum and Boston Celtics got to the conference finals leading up to when they actually got there with that squad, I don't really know if that tanked his case. To some people, it may have. I would say it definitely did. Kind of going back to him getting the unnecessary hate. But I feel like as long as he eventually gets there, now it can't be too late, obviously, in his career when he's 35 on a losing team. I don't think he's ever going to be in that scenario. But Shay's success has been somewhat recent to the point. I'd say on the level of him like being like in the MVP contention, it's really only been within the past 2-3 years. So there's still a little bit of time for him before I feel like it kind of tanks his chances of being like the face of the league. Then again, he also isn't the youngest guy. He's not old. He's like 26, but
a lot of these guys on the list that we have are 26, 27. But I mean, I do think Shea has a good case at being it. Him going to the finals definitely would help his case or winning the championship for sure. I just don't know. Like you said, that was a good point of him being this good for the past 2 to 3 seasons. I definitely think plays a factor into it because like we've seen Luka come into the league, he was killing it. Jayson Tatum came into the league killing it. Wemby came into the league very hyped and has lived up to that hype. I just feel like on out of all these guys, SGA has had the least time of being getting that hype, and it's been recently, like the past 2 to 3 seasons, like you have said.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just like point blank, I don't think he's that popular. compared to the other guys on this list. I think
For
he's the
sure.
least popular guy we have out of the five we're going to talk about.
Yeah, if I had to put him somewhere, I'll save it for later.
Yeah, I
Um,
think. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I mean, with Shea, I think I think a big reason why he can't be the face of the league is because, like you guys said, I think he lacks a defining characteristic of why we would watch him more than we'd watch some of these other guys. And I don't know, this question's hard because you really made me think just now about why LeBron James is like was the face of the league for so long, why Curry is one. And I mean, one of the biggest things I think is the fear factor that comes with it. When you're the best, when you're the franchise face, everyone thinks we have to go through them, and more specifically, we have to go through him. And honestly, it makes a good case for your boy Miles because right now they do have that element of fear. I think a little bit, and I don't know if I get that same feeling from Shea. I don't know if he has, for all the aura that he supposedly has. I don't know if he has that particular side of things where teams are fearful of him and what he can do.
But
I think
but
we know exactly what he can do. Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, but why do you think that is? And I would argue that it's because he doesn't have that moment. Like he doesn't have the time where he put away like a team to go to the finals. He doesn't have the time where he sealed a series like by himself, took over a game. Like we see him do it in the regular season, but un until we see this run this year, and like Victor said, like he's definitely the newest to the limelight. Hasn't had a lot of time to like develop his story because believe it or not, story is like your upbringing, your story is a big factor in this. And I think that's why, again, Shea just isn't as popular. He really doesn't have the backstory. Like when Paul George got traded for Shea, no one knew who SGA was besides Clippers fans. So it's like, we this guy is still new to a lot of NBA fans. So he's currently building that story, and I just don't think he has the foundation to build it far enough to be the face of the league. Just not
I
enough
feel,
exposure.
I feel like this conversation might be a little bit different had they not played the Mavericks last year in the playoffs, or had they beaten them. Just unfortunately, like they
Mhm.
only made it to the second round or whatever. But the team they lost to did go to the finals, and it was Luka and Kyrie. So had he had succeeded last year as a one seed and made the conference finals, I feel like the conversation could be slightly skewed a little
Yeah.
bit. But
Um,
that didn't happen, and this year that might have to happen. But I think it
yeah.
can because if he puts away LeBron and Luca in the conference finals, that's going to be pretty. That's going to be huge.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
But I mean, I think even like last year, them making it to the second round was really impressive, being one of the youngest teams in the NBA, getting to that point, their first time in the playoffs together. I think it just showed like how good this team can be and what their potential could be like.
Didn't they just beat the Pelicans without Zion? Was it really that impressive? That's making it to the second round. Like, isn't that who they beat? I don't think that's that impressive.
I mean, beating the Pelicans without Zion is pretty much just beating the Pelicans full force.
That's a good. That's a good
Well,
point.
with Zion there or not, they're the Pelicans. So I see your point, but I don't see it clearly. Although, yeah, they were a one seed that beat an eight seed. That should be expected.
Yeah.
It's that second round that I'm like
Mm,
really honing in on.
yeah. Um, this might be crazy, but I know the Mavericks beat them, but I kind of think that Mavericks run was still like a Cinderella run. I truthfully like don't think they should have made it as far as they did, but they did. So I'm not taking credit from them, but like I think losing to them also isn't as big of a magnitude as it would be like losing to someone else, like Denver.
I think they took them to six, right?
Yeah. It was a 6-game series. You can say Cinderella run, but I saw it coming from the
Yeah,
clip,
I will give you your credit. You did call that.
and I
You did call that.
I never failed to bring it up either. So we'll see how the Rockets take goes.
What was your Rockets take? I don't even remember.
I said they'll be at least a 5th or 6th seed and make the playoffs.
Oh, that's looking pretty good right now.
Right now, I mean, I don't think Dallas is taking that spot.
Yeah. Obviously, the Spurs are, I mean, they weren't really in the run, but now they're done. The Kings are probably done too now.
Yeah, they're all on capture the flag mode right now.
Yeah. So a lot of teams are dropping out of the West. So it's looking better by the day, unfortunately, because of injuries, but they can
Shout
still be
out,
That's the
there.
game.
shout out Cooper Flag's brother. Just won his third state championship in his third different state. I don't know how to say it. He has 3 different state titles in 3 different states. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. What's his name?
I don't know.
I was gonna say that's a random shout out, and then I was like, wait, I wonder if he knows what his name is. Isn't it like
Cooper,
Ace? Is it
I was
Ace
gonna say
Flag?
something.
Dude,
It
that's
is Ace. You're
yeah,
right. It
okay,
is
that's what
Ace.
I thought it was. But
I
then I
remember
was like,
hearing
no,
that.
that's Ace Bailey. So
I remember.
then
I remember it is Ace because I remember seeing a comment say, "Jesus, their parents gave them golden retriever names."
Dude, that's actually facts. I know someone personally who has a golden retriever named Cooper. That's crazy. That's so facts. That's
You got
nuts.
if you have a golden retriever, you have to give it a human name.
Yeah. But Cooper is like perfect. Okay, we can get back on topic here again.
let's
I
move
Okay.
on
think let's single-handedly as GMLB family start the movement of what does this mean for Shea legacy? What does this mean for Shea's legacy? So we'll just pretty much force Shea to be the new face of the league.
Or we could just push this narrative. The Mavericks didn't make the playoffs this year, and the Thunder lost to them last year. Let's just add no context to how the Mavericks season went. Let's push that. Let's get Shea out of the running. Let's just get Shea out of the running to counterpoint you. Uh, but yeah, fellas, do we have anything else on Shea?
I feel like all of our opinions were pretty similar
Yeah.
in a way.
All right. Where do we go next? I guess I can go ahead and pick. Let's do Anthony Edwards next. Fellas.
Jordan's son. That was a
Jimmy
wave people were riding hard.
Jordan's son. More like Jordan's grandson because Jimmy Butler exists. But yeah, Jordan's bloodline.
this is such a controversial one because Anthony Edwards just came out and saying he doesn't want to be the face of the league. And then LeBron commented on it. He said nobody celebrates these new people, so why the F will anybody want to be the face of the league when you're going to get a blank on every network for not being somebody from wait, that's Channing Frye. Wait, from not
He was quoting what Channing Frye said.
okay.
So it was a secondhand quote. That's probably why it seems weird.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember Channing Frye said the same thing. But I mean it is facts though, like the NBA, it's very toxic in ways, man. And there's like a lot of comparisons and stuff like with the face of the league and everybody trying to compare it to being like, oh, like these players couldn't play in the 90s and stuff like that. And it's kind of like very bitter, like with the old players, man. It's just kind of weird to see because you don't see this in any other sport. You don't see
Yeah.
the old players trying to tear down the young players.
Yeah. On top of that, there's the whole like foreign versus American debate going on too.
Yeah.
There's just always comparisons with basketball, and it does suck. It does make it not enjoyable. It seems like nobody's rooting for each other or wants to see someone succeed and win. As far as Anthony Edwards, I think LeBron also said that you're chosen to be the face of the league. This isn't something that you have a say in. I think a lot of people do want to see Anthony Edwards as like the face of the league. I mean, look at the starting five Netflix series. The way they introduced him, he had the sickest intro, pulling out of
Easily.
his crib in the Lambo, and then there was the close up of him making corny ass mean face that didn't look too mean. Like people like Anthony Edwards, not only because of his aggressive play style, but also because he talks. The clip of him like trash talking KD in the playoffs last year. That's just what people like. People like that kind of stuff, as opposed to someone being a little bit more quiet and humble. They see them more as like a killer. So I feel like Anthony Edwards might be like the the popular vote out of everyone that we're going to talk about as far as being the new face of the league because of his character and who he is, baby mamas and all.
And that's something that Daniel said earlier to a point where he was saying that like on the court they have to have that like charisma and that killer mentality, and I feel like he does show that a lot. Just trash talking, he's loud. After a play, he's just like in your face and the camera pans towards him. I just feel like there's a lot of moments that he has on court where he's able to be himself. That's what Daniel said. He's able to express himself and truly be himself, and I feel like that's where a lot of his case comes from.
I think the best thing that he could have done was say what he said and say, I don't want to be the face of the league, because it goes, like you said, Victor, too. It goes back to that personality thing. And the best thing he can do is just continue to hoop and have that on court presence, and people will gravitate towards him. And a perfect example of that is on the point of the Netflix show Starting Five. They pushed you in a direction to not only introduce Anthony Edwards as the cool new guy on the block, but the new face of the league. Like the original clip, I think, is of on Netflix, is them saying like, oh, and then when that's over, someone else can take the reins. And then it's, the close up of the back of a purple Lamborghini, and it's introducing Anthony Edwards. So I think that's a key element to this too, is how much the media and how much these producers and execs like you too, and how much they're favoring you, right? Anthony Edwards didn't have to do anything for them to or he did not, more specifically, he didn't have to say anything directly of I'm the best or I'm the face of the league or anything like that. He just had to show it in his work, and as a byproduct, in one of the largest shows about, basketball, they decided to make him, you know, the future face of the league, in their words.
Damn. And in the most recent series, too, Court of Gold, when he told Obama he's a killer, people ate that shit up, dude. On Instagram and Twitter, they were like, "Oh my god, he is a killer."
They
Dude,
got
doesn't that
scared.
speak to how like much of an OG Obama is? Bro, I feel like everyone messes with Obama, man. He hasn't been president in a minute. But people like he's still out here talking like people still talk about Obama like he's the president. I think that's sick. Completely off topic, but I think that's sick.
That's
Does he
my
have more
clan tag
aura
on
than
Xbox.
I couldn't tell what either of you guys said, but word.
You go,
uh,
Victor.
No, you go, man. Mine was dumb.
I just said my clan tag on Xbox is Obama.
Obama.
Obama is one letter too long, so I had to do Obama.
Okay, so I think obviously Anthony Edwards' case here, like you guys talked about, the charisma, but also I feel like this dude is just a highlight reel, and I think that that's what's getting him most of his popularity. I think the comments help, but really it's the fact that this dude is literally dunking on everyone. He's one of the 3-point leaders this season. He's continuing to build up a franchise that has been, let's not forget, one of the worst franchises in the NBA, like probably worse than the Wizards. If we exclude like recency bias, they were like always the worst franchise in the league. So bringing them up and making honestly a lot of people forget how bad they were is one thing. But also like we just saw him go to the Western Conference Finals at what 22 years old, and I think a lot of people see the future in this kid, and he is USA born. Um, Pretty much defines what a United States basketball player looks like. Just ton of athleticism, um, relying heavily on athleticism, but still having a very fine point skill set. So he has his case. Let's not get it wrong. He has his case, but Some people will argue charisma. I will argue immaturity. I love Ant, but I think this guy is one gun Instagram post away from just being called corny and becoming John Morant. What is the parallel? What is the difference between John Morant and Anthony Edwards before the gun threat? Both hyper athletic, both up and coming stars, both make. I mean, Ja didn't go to the conference finals, but like, what was the difference between them?
You just I don't want to say like scared me, but like that just made me think, yeah, like he is one incident away from everything that he's been doing becoming kind of cringy because then
And he
everything
he
gets looked
almost
at
did
differently.
with the send a video. Like, yeah, it became a meme. Luckily, it became a meme instead of like becoming an F Anthony Edwards party. But like, he's had his controversies already. But the NBA crowd has defended him so far. So he's one controversy away from just becoming cringe.
True. Luckily, I don't think he's as dumb and immature as John Morant is. Because when John Morant went to that, what was that freaking thing he went to? The retreat or whatever he had to
Oh,
do,
yeah.
where they all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. He went back to doing what he was doing already. So I think
Yeah.
he just chilled at the crib for a week or two, however long he was out. Thankfully, I don't think Anthony Edwards is that silly. But like you said, I don't think anyone saw John Morant doing the things that he did. So we'll just have to see.
You know what? Actually, going off of that maturity thing, I think that would that comes from his like desire for like legacy that I was talking about earlier. Like this kid wants to win championships. He doesn't take like the NBA season is long, but there's very few players that really don't care how long it is and just like go all in, and want to complete the season the best that they can and win a championship. And Anthony Edwards is one of those players. So I think like the one thing that he has on John Morant in terms of maturity is that, which is long term. Like his long term goals probably are more important than like him messing around and screwing up his chances at that. That would be my assumption as why he's a little bit more mature.
My other thing is like again looking at just the previous faces of the league, right? Everyone wants to see Ant be the face of the league because he's charismatic, but let's look at let's look at LeBron. LeBron coming into the league as a youngin, not charismatic, not talking like that. He knew he was good, but he was humble. Kobe, exclusively focused on his game, Mamba mentality, always humble. Michael Jordan, yeah, everyone's like Michael Jordan was also so charismatic. What's your point here? Michael Jordan came into the league humble. Before he was like who he was, he was confident, but he wasn't outlandish like he was later in his career. Like, in Last Dance when the entire team's doing coke and he decided not to, like stand up class act kind of guy. That's the kind of personality I'm talking to. And just pointing at that one example. But Ant coming in is like not a mature kid, I guess, in terms of like media personality. I'm sure he's a mature adult outside of like how he acts in the media, but in basketball terms, in basketball media terms, he's very immature and outlandish, and I feel like that's hurting his case a lot more than people are giving him credit for. It's like, yeah, it's fun to see that guy, but do you trust this guy like as a leader? Like, are we questioning his leadership here? He's very like we've talked on this podcast before how public he is with like his team's problems and like calling his teammates out and calling himself out. But I want to know how he looks like behind the scenes as an actual leader because I don't know. I'm convinced he can demand like what he wants to see and like go Jordan and like punch Steve Kerr in the face, but like punch Jaden McDaniels in the face for like missing a three or something. But like I don't know if he can like get the best out of his team like people think he can. I want to know if he's mature enough to lead his team. Okay, that's the general point I'm trying to make here.
think he's
I,
mature enough. I mean, we saw them go to a Western Conference Finals. Cat has a lot of love and respect for him, like as we've seen this season. Just with like the All Star Game interviews, I've seen Cat talk very highly of Ant, and every time they meet up, loves to talk to him. I mean, they were ready to go for this next season, prepared to try to win it all together before the Timberwolves decided to trade him away. They were all locked in for another season together. I feel like Cat knew that Anthony Edwards was going to be that number one option, going to be the leader of that team. And now he is that true number one guy. And I feel like he could be a good leader.
I think
I
there's
feel
a
like he's
fine
getting there.
line. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think he's getting there. I
Mm.
don't think he's there quite yet. He's still a really young guy. I mean, been in the league a couple years, really hit his stride last season. I feel like he's definitely getting there. I mean, a lot of the post game interviews this past year of kind of just calling out the team, it was always we need to do this, we need to do that, as opposed to other stars in the past saying like, oh, like I don't have enough help, this and that. I think he's on the right track. I think he's matured a little bit more this season, but then again, like it's a long haul, it's a grind. I think he can get there. I think when he's in his prime officially, I will think and hoping that he is capable of leading a group of guys and being that voice that people actually listen to.
Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna say there's a very fine line between being the best player and the number one option and being a good leader. Because like you could be like Bradley Beal, and just like be the best player but be like a horrible leader. Or like what's another good example of that? Low key like KD, maybe, maybe a little bit. I don't know if he's a good leader. Don't actually listen to that. I don't know if that's true. But I think the last two things I kind of wanted to bring up was one, I think the Olympics really, really helped his case playing for Team USA, being one of the best players, like, and clearly the narrative was pushed by the media that he's following in the footsteps of LeBron, Curry, and KD, like he's up next. They push that narrative crazy. So I think that gets him a lot of credit. Obviously, he was one of the main contributors and got a gold medal. But to counteract that, he does play for Minnesota. And I don't know how much of a factor this really is, but not a historically great franchise, actually a historically horrible franchise outside of Kevin Garnett. And Kevin Garnett was never like face of the league level. So he was good. He was MVP, but like never face of the league level. So I don't know how much that actually plays into it. Do you guys think playing for Minnesota can like hurt his chances? Because it's like playing for Boston can, I feel like, really boost your chances. But I don't know if you can lose chances by playing for like a worse franchise. So what do you guys kind of think about that?
I mean, I don't personally think like your question is whether I don't think like him playing in a smaller market team like that makes a difference, honestly. Because I just if he's comparable to any like past face of the league, we would most likely point the finger to Jordan. And I mean, how good were the Bulls before Jordan did what he did? And even now, I mean, it's not like they are a historic franchise. But I don't know. I guess you can turn what a reality into whatever team you're on. I don't necessarily think he needs to leave Minnesota personally.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I don't think that Minnesota matters that much. I think the closest face of the league that played on the smallest market was Steph Curry with Golden State.
Yeah.
That's not really that big of a market, and he was the face of the league, so I don't really think that matters that much.
I would say he could take him to that level, but man, y'all jump straight to Steph Curry. What about LeBron? Cleveland?
Oh yeah, shit.
Hey,
What are y'all talking about?
technically, he wasn't the face until he got to Miami.
I don't know, man. Those later years in Cleveland on those bum teams he was taking to the finals, I think he was
No,
up
he
there.
he definitely was during that time, but
Or when he got back.
when he got back, he was for sure the face. Him and Curry kind of shared it, I feel like. But when did he actually become the face? It depends if you count Kobe as the face of the league. Because I count Kobe as the face of the league, like in the late 2000s. But I would say LeBron became the true face of the league once he basically got to Miami.
I feel like it had to
But
have happened before the decision, though. Oh, well, actually, never mind.
I don't know. It kind of just depends where you decide. I mean, that's
So
completely subjective. There's no like factual
fa-
way to know.
fadeaway world has Kobe from 2006 to 2010, the face of the league, then LeBron 2011 to 15, and then 2016 to now it's LeBron, KD, Steph.
I don't know what does fadeaway world prove.
Oh, I was just saying, I just looked it up.
Just like general opinion.
Yeah, just general opinion.
I guess that kind of aligns with what I said though. If Kobe's till 2010, then LeBron after. I don't know. I guess it kind of I mean, it could if you think LeBron was the face in his first tenure with Cleveland, then I can't really argue with you. It's up in the air. All right, fellas. Who's next? We got two more.
Luka.
Go ahead.
So Luka has a great case, man. Just took the Mavericks to the finals. Now he's on the Lakers, big market team, as we were talking about. Um, I mean, I don't think the market matters that much, but if you're on a big market team like the Lakers or Boston, I think it definitely helps you a lot. And with him being on there now, learning from LeBron, especially too, is going to help his case a lot. This dude averages damn near a triple double. He when he came into the league, he started dominating. He's been dominating ever since. He's made a pretty damn good case. Has been in the running for MVP before, and I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'll say I feel like it might be a little bit more difficult now that he's on the Lakers, playing behind like LeBron. I mean, we know how sexuals are. And then also there's just so many legends that have played for the Lakers. I almost feel like he had a greater chance in Dallas. Everyone was looking for the second coming of Dirk. The Dallas Mavericks fans were looking for that second coming, and it just so happened to be another white European dude. Hilarious. Took him to the finals. His chances were almost greater there because I was like, it would have been. I don't want to say it would have been more meaningful. In a way, it would have been a little bit more impressive and refreshing to see. So there's kind of just a lot of steps to follow. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Luka Doncic. He's very entertaining to play, but his character on the court, I feel like might hinder him a little bit. Dude complains a lot, dude. Like a
Mm.
lot, like too much. He's also like doesn't look like a basketball player. Like when we look at the other guys, not that this matters, but it kind of does. A little pudgy build. We all know that. We saw all those conversations when the trade happened, and also the fact that he's a little bit of a cone on defense,
Dang,
especially last year in the finals.
you took
It
both my
was,
points.
it was. I feel like these are the only 2 points, if I'm being honest. Everything else incorrect. But dude, like last year in the finals, horrible on
Yeah.
defense. Like, it was genuinely tough to watch. I hated it. I was like, I'm not enjoying watching Luka Doncic right now. Yeah, he was hurt a
6v4.
little bit. Yeah, he was a little bit hurt, but
They're
can
coming
he
off
get
of a
there? Yeah.
long run too.
Then again, a lot of the NBA OGs don't like the European players, so that might make it a little tougher.
Well, I mean, to what you were saying about it being, I definitely agree with you first about the whining in defense, but for what you were saying about like he's pudgy, like it does matter. Like when we're talking face of the league, this is a visual thing. This is like when you see the graphics, this is the guy who's in the front. And like if you're like a husky or white guy who looks like he hoops at the Y on
Yeah,
Sundays after church, like
I know I know
and
exactly who it looks like. Have you seen the pictures of JD Vance without a beard?
nah, bro,
I
I've
want to
not.
show I want to show you so bad because you'll think it looks exactly like him.
But
Do we
it's
have
just
time for me to show you or no?
let's
Do it after.
yeah, let's do it
Okay,
after.
okay, okay, okay.
But yeah, it definitely is a thing. Like I hate to say it, but it is a thing. He's also man, I agree again that being on the Lakers hurts his case. Like it's really hard to compete with the absolute legends that have played for the Lakers, including LeBron James. And LeBron, I feel like struggles at least in his Lakers tenure, to compete with the Lakers legends. Like we're talking like 3 top 10 players ever. 4, Kareem, Shaq, Kobe, and Magic.
The
If you
logo
want
of the
to,
freaking league.
yeah, Jerry West. Like we're talking like,
Will
bro, I agree that being on the Lakers hurts his case more than helps it. I feel like in Dallas, rallying an
Oh,
entire franchise on your back and like having them die with you, live and
but
die by your performances is worth more than having lukewarm Lakers fans just mess with you because like, oh, you're on the Lakers. But not Dallas, like they would have died for him, man.
Yeah. And like people
clearly,
were still going to Lakers games. Celebrities were still going to Lakers games when they had Jeremy Lin, Nick Young, and Robert Sacre in the starting lineup. Put that starting lineup in Dallas and see how many seats you sell.
Yeah.
but I mean, the thing that I think is the Lakers are the most covered team in the NBA right now, and he's gonna get that media coverage now. Is what I'm trying to say with him being on a bigger market. I definitely think that helps play into it.
No.
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah,
yeah.
I needed to break the silence.
No, I'm basically going to say the same thing as you guys. Athleticism, I think, is a big thing for the face of the NBA to have. And while Luka is very fun to watch, and he's obviously one of the most skilled players we've seen ever, maybe, I think that he does lack that eye test, I guess, if you could call it, as NBA fans. We know it when we see it. And in Luka's case, I don't know if he screams the pinnacle of what a basketball player should be and look like, unfortunately. Um, but also I did want to say too, we should have put like Luca and then in parentheses LeBron James, because something that we're not talking about and something that I've seen on like the comment section of every post about the Lakers so far is LeBron gonna play another 5 years? I mean, like it's not it is a joke, but also at the same time, like how many more years is this guy gonna play? And then that also pushes up the timeline on Tatum, on Luka, on everyone, right? Because then now they're 30 and LeBron James is still scoring 30 and 32 on
It's
a
a really
random,
good point.
like off season or not off season but just off week, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
That's a
I think
really good point.
I think that LeBron James having Luka on his team now is, and I think I even said, like, I was like, oh, maybe they'll be fighting for ninth seed or seventh seed or something. They're two. They're second seed now, and LeBron James scored 40 3 weeks ago. So yeah, I mean, how much of this, how much of Luka can even be the face of the league when LeBron James is his teammate? That's another point.
They also never got their center either. They're doing this with Jackson Hayes as their starting center. Like,
LeBron.
like that's
Get Rick
crazy.
rolled, Nico Harris.
Back to the point. I mean, when you buy a 2K game and you load up my player, what's his build? Is it going to be a pudgy dude from Slovenia? Probably not. It's like draw me the MVP of the league. Tatted, ripped, jump out the gym, 40-foot threes. I
I'm
just
just
don't
trying
see
to.
it.
If you put Luca in street clothes and like and had him like sit at a coffee shop, you'd be like, who in here thinks or who in this coffee shop do you think plays basketball? I don't know if Luca would get picked. Because if you can't see he's 6'7", I don't know if you can recognize he's a basketball player.
You guys are kind of sounding like Nico Harrison right now.
Hey,
No,
maybe
no,
he
no,
had a
but
point, bro. Maybe he had a
like
point.
the thing is like we're not even talking about like whether or not Luca can like win. You know what I mean? Like
We're
Luca
just
can
talking
win.
about he's
Yeah,
fat.
you guys,
Yeah, like
you guys are
like
sound like the front office right now.
I mean, the face of the league, it's a different conversation, though. Again, it's what people want to see. Like,
Yeah,
it's entertainment. It's
Yeah.
pizzazz, if you would. Like, it's a different conversation compared to, all right, statistically, who's the best player in the league? I don't want to say stats don't matter in this conversation, but Shit, not as much.
I honestly
I, I,
think. Go ahead, Daniel.
no, I was just gonna say, especially in a league so talented, yeah, stats do matter, but only to an extent. And then you start to get into like the conceptual things, and it becomes a little bit more of a what's your personal preference, but also the majority of people have the same preference. I mean, even a perfect example is when we were in Florida. I remember you and me and Victor were in the same car. We were talking to an Uber driver, and the Uber driver was talking about how what
Kevin
I was
wasn't
not in
there.
Florida with y'all, bro. I was
did
not
I
there.
say? Did I say Kevin? I meant Victor. My fault.
In the
You
words
said
of
you, me, and
Flavin,
Victor.
no Kev.
No, in the what? But yeah, no, we were in Florida and we were talking to a guy that was a somewhat like an immigrant, and he was a big fan of Luca, but he even said, obviously the complaining to refs and all that stuff. But one of the main points that he said was like, Luka just plays slower now. He doesn't like play the same way that he did when he first came into the league or when he was just younger in general. And if that's an indication of how his the trajectory of his career is going to go, then it's just going to get
Bro,
harder and harder for him to watch.
he's still playing insane.
I
I was
know.
gonna say, still busting
Yeah.
Like,
ass.
come on,
Like,
bro.
I'm
Like,
not I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying
I'm kind of with him though. I'm kind of with him though. Like
okay,
low
Daniel
key.
just said if he goes on this trajectory, he's gonna be like boring to watch. He's not gonna be boring to watch. Like, you can throw that out the window.
Yeah,
how
I
many
mean,
years before he's boring to watch?
he just has a bad narrative and connotation. He
yeah.
just has a bad connotation. Like outside of Dallas fans, I feel like we understand as just general NBA fans, Luka does not play defense, despite what the numbers tell you during his Lakers tenure. Luka does not play defense, and the dude just whines, man, just so much. And like, yeah, he has the moments, he has the success, but we're at face of the NBA. It's hard, man. Like that guy, the I guess, but then LeBron whines too,
Dude, they
Yeah,
all whine. Come
but
on.
but not to the extent Luka does. Not even LeBron to the extent Luka does. Luka whines the most in the NBA by far.
Yeah, it's so bad. I mean, hasn't Adam Silver directly like talked about it?
Um,
No. I mean, maybe he has.
Not that I know of.
he just immediately says no. Nope, he did
Big
not.
big brain time.
I mean, there's been people talking about it and being like, oh, like there's like a people in the NBA complaining about calls and stuff, which I get. It's kind of dumb because you're never really gonna reverse a call unless the coach challenges the play. And whining's not gonna help you do that. It's honestly just gonna get you teed up and thrown out the game. So I really don't understand the point of whining.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I guess we've talked about pretty much everything except his actual play. But when we're talking face of the NBA, he has the play besides defense. I think
He
you need to
also
play both sides to be the face of the league, but go ahead.
he also has those blackout moments where he's just smiling and just like enjoying basketball on the court and killing the opponents, which people love to see, and dominating. That's like one of the things that people really gravitated towards, like Steph doing when he just celebrates and does the shimmy and everything. Everybody loves that shit.
I don't. So not everyone.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
You, you,
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, you do have a point. The picture of him and Booker where he's just laughing is like my favorite NBA meme ever.
Where
Besides
the
when the Toronto Raptor is kneeling on the sideline because Devin Booker during the bubble kicked him out when he was shooting that free throw, if you know what I'm talking about. That's my favorite NBA meme. But we have a whole video on it actually on this channel if you want to go peep that. But uh yeah, he's got the stats. He just doesn't fit the build, man. And it's not like a charisma thing. It's just you play offense and it's pretty cool, but You whine and don't play defense and from Europe. L plus ratio.
Bye-bye.
I'm the big Chad face Lucas Wojak. That's the argument here. So, should we move on? This is a really horrible transition. I think we're ready to move on.
I think we're ready for the final.
All right, let's talk the man, the literal myth, it seems like. The soon to be legend. Victor Wembanyama, unfortunately, out for the season. A season that would have built his case so much in terms of being the face of the league. It sucks he can't get a DPOY under his belt, man. It really sucks we can't see him get a playoff berth. They were on that trajectory. But Victor Wembanyama, this is going to be more of a future-based case here. But Daniel, we can start with you this time. I don't think we started with you. Daniel, what to you is Victor Wembanyama's case for being the face of the league?
I guess I would go with he has just raised the bar for every incoming player now to ever come into the league tenfold. The stuff that this guy was doing in his first 2 seasons, first honor minute restriction and then off of it, is just ridiculous. I mean, like there were so many times when before he got hurt where you would see a stat line this season and you would just be like, yeah, I mean, it's Wemby. It became such a norm that I think people are almost expecting him to be this, like you said, mythical NBA creature that's just going to win all of these championships and win all of these titles. It's just a matter of time. It's like it's a ticking time bomb, and things just keep on kind of slightly, prolonging the explosion. I think it's coming. I would hope so. I mean, a big thing I think now is health. Wemby needs to stay healthy because I think even before he was drafted, we haven't seen too many guys at his height stay healthy and for like long periods of time with no injuries. It's a little bit unexpected. So I think with Wemby, he's got a great shot at being the face of the league. He's not very charismatic, I don't think. He's one of the more shy guys, I would say, but I think that's one of those this is one of those unique situations where his game is just going to prove everything it needs to. I mean, how you're not going to be able to argue with with his case if he wins like 2 championships back to back, or if he goes on to win an MVP and a defensive player of the year and then a championship or something. He's going to do those things, in my opinion, if he stays healthy. And I think that would make him probably the favorite to be the face. It's just work ethic and what he accomplishes.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much agree with him there. This dude will be the face of the league. I mean, when he was drafted, people weren't really talking about like, is he going to be good? They were more so saying, oh, when's this dude going to win MVP? When's he going to win a ring? He was definitely on that trajectory. I think one of the reasons why LeBron and Curry were able to be, well, there's many reasons, but one of the ones that I noticed why they were able to be the faces of the league is because they were doing things that people have never seen before. We've never seen somebody like Wemby before. Yeah, we saw LeBron, just his physicality, and Steph Curry, his shooting, but just Wemby as just a person, someone who's that goddamn tall, who has that good of dribble moves, who's shooting step back threes. Like, this dude would have been kicked off of every single basketball team he played for if this was 30 years ago. They'd have been like, no, literally, what are you doing? But like, we've never seen anything like this guy. He almost won Defense Player of the Year last year. He was going to win it this year. He was like a minus 2,500 favorite. He was like the only player averaging 4 blocks a game. I saw games where he had like 9, 10, just absolute insane stat lines. His Christmas Day game, I think, definitely helped out his case a lot too with the 40-pointer. Almost broke the record that day for a Christmas Day scoring record. I mean, yeah. We have several videos where we're glazing Wemby. We even have a video titled Glazing Wemby. This dude's going to be it. The NBA is praying this dude stays healthy. Because if not, there's going to be a lot. We're going to make this video again. It's going to be titled, It Wasn't Wemby. Who is it now?
It was Kristaps Porzingis. Sorry.
Like, oh my God, it was Luka the whole time. Idiots. But yeah,
Plot
It
I
was
mean,
twist. Desmond
this
Bain.
he fits that mold of
bold.
just being something that we've never seen before. And that's why he is my top pick for the future face of the league. Nice market too, San Antonio, great winning culture. He can add to it.
Hmm.
It's
Historically winning franchise.
yeah, like literally no doubt about it. It's gonna
Wow.
happen.
Everything you just said convinced me that the draft was rigged to get him to the Spurs.
Obviously. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you pretty much covered all bases, I think. Like, the big thing I was going to say for his case was LeBron coming in as a high schooler, physicality, like athleticism, pure dominance at 6'8", like 6'8", 250-pound frame, like running and dunking one of the fastest players in the league. Never seen that before. Then you got Kobe and his mentality and his just ability to outwork you and his ability to scout the IQ of the game, just being a student of the game. We've never seen someone work like Kobe. Then you get to Kevin Durant. And you see a 7-footer who's playing small forward, playing both sides of the floor and is a just dominant knockdown mid-range shooter, can score from all levels. We've never seen a player like that. Then you get to Stephen Curry. I mean, the shooting speaks for itself. He's the leader right now. It's not going to be close. He'll probably be the leader for a significant portion of our future. I would not be surprised if I died and Stephen Curry was still leading in three-pointers. That's the boundaries he pushed. Now we get to Wemby. And like Kevin said, man, we've straight up never seen something like this. I remember back in the day, Kevin specifically, I think I was talking to you, but we've talked on the pod about watching him play for his French team in that G League game against Scoot Henderson and just like being awestruck, like literal jaw drop. What am I watching? That's the type of player that we're dealing with here. And Kevin pretty much covered why, so I won't go ahead and just shadow what he said. But another thing I wanted to point out, the dude was trying in the All-Star game. I know this doesn't hold like a ton of weight, but I think character-wise, like I've been trying to hone in on this whole podcast, is he came in, did his normal game routine. That includes reading a book. I'm sure you guys have seen. He's been questioned about like he got questioned by another player like, "Why are you reading a book?" He's like, "This is
Jokic.
like, yeah, it's like this is like any other game for me, you know." Like he's fired up. He's ready to go. He's making his All-Star debut. And it's a big night for him. So I think that like he's again class act. Like the guy is, I wouldn't say he's shy, but I would say he's definitely humble. Like I've said before about Tatum, like he fits the mold of mature, humble, but also will be exciting. Like the play will speak for himself. He doesn't have to talk himself up. So yeah, that's in my opinion Wemby's case. The only thing I see against him, injuries. If he could stay healthy, he will be the face of the league, no doubt.
Yeah, you guys basically covered everything. This is the first alien we've seen in the NBA, and also 2K patched his ass a long time ago. You know, the demigods. Um, but dude, I mean, he's just an insane talent this season. He was really having a hell of a season before he got injured. It was sad to see that he has to deal with the DVT, and hopefully he can come back next year healthy and ready to go. I think the sky's the limit for him. Just like you said, Miles, the injuries is the only thing that could hold him back from being the face of the league, but he is the number one option, no doubt, man. Uh, and I think Kevin made a great point with saying that we've never seen this before. We literally haven't. What he does on the NBA court is just phenomenal, and it's just amazing to watch.
Yeah. Kind of like back to what Miles said earlier about the All-Star game just being another game to him when Jokic was like, "Why do you have a book?" And he goes, "Yeah, I read before every game." Like he's himself. Like this dude is like he even said in like a post-game interview, like, oh yeah, like the team knows not to call me past 8 p.m. because I'm reading. Drake invited Wemby to walk out with him on stage in San Antonio when he performed, and Wemby said, "Can my teammates come?" And Drake said, "I don't really want Devin Vassell on my stage, so no." And he didn't go. Like this dude is himself. He's all about him. He's all about the game. He's all about the team. I mean, what sucks about his injury is that it's not even an injury; it's a health issue, which is
Mm.
like scary in a way because I feel like I've seen Wemby take some nasty falls and him turn his ankle and he gets up and just starts running right away. I've seen a video of his stretching routine. The dude is probably the most flexible thing I've ever seen in my life. It's kind of horrifying, actually, how flexible he is. That shouldn't be allowed. But
Yeah.
injuries, I feel like it's not what I'm scared of. It's more so like a health issue like that, like a deep vein thrombosis being so goddamn big. Its arteries are the size of my head. I mean, like it's just pray to God, like the health issues just don't get to him. Because if so, the NBA is screwed.
The thing is you get the shoulder thrombosis from like repeated habitual overhead shooting, like overhead motion. So like he low-key got the blood clot from putting in work, and that's hard. That's like the hardest thing ever. So like this dude was working so hard that he got a blood clot in his shoulder. Like that's crazy from like
That
pinching that artery from the shooting motion.
the fact that we can say the same thing about Brandon Ingram too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hope you don't say that
Yeah.
like a sartopsin. Yo, yo,
Bi
yo,
just
you
worked.
didn't have to say that, bro.
B
That's
Bi was just working too hard. Bi high as hell, dude. I remember every single when Bi was having his season, his All Star level season. Every single picture he was in, the comments were just flooded with Bi high as hell. Off
it's
topic,
like
but funny.
it's like the NBA comments being filled with two free throws coming up for SGA. That's like flooding all the comments now.
I've actually not seen that, but that's hilarious. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
They
But yeah, dude,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna sum it up, just being I just don't see a world where this dude is not the face of the league. This is like the first foreign player the NBA is pushing. I mean,
Yeah.
like even like when he was getting drafted, like he was getting praise from the All Stars. Like KD even said, like, "Thank God I'm retiring soon. I don't want to play this dude for 10 years. Like I'm gonna let y'all deal with him, like the young guys."
Yeah.
I think you guys brought up a good point too about him like taking care of his body because dude, he is very flexible, like Kevin said, man. I don't know if you guys seen those videos. The ankle video was crazy. It looked like he rolled his ankle and just got up like it was nothing. He's almost like that Gumby toy, if you guys know what I'm talking about. The green
He is
guy.
gumpy. I wouldn't be surprised if he can walk backwards on his hands like the Exorcist. Which, if I saw Wemby doing that, I'd shoot him.
He starts
His
shooting with
legs
his feet.
horrifying. Huh?
He starts shooting with his feet.
Oh God,
Turns
dude!
the
If I ever saw
turns the
that,
jumper upside down.
dude, I remember Wemby on Halloween. He dressed up as Slender Man, and I sent it to one of our buddies, and he said this was literally what he said, and I quote, "I'm gonna be honest, bro. I don't like how he looks. It's horrifying." And I was like, "That is horrifying.
Just
He should
imagine
not
you're
be
on
that
a
flexible." So the care is there, the love for the game is there. He's himself. Like again, just we're just hoping those health issues don't stack up like they did for our boy Yao Ming and Bol or Manupol. Jesus,
Do you know who do you guys know what a Wendigo is?
yes.
It's
heard
like
of it?
a
You're gonna have to jog
No.
my memory.
it's like a
How do you spell it?
creature. It's like a creature that lives in the forest. It's like a myth creature. Wendigo. Come on, bro.
That would be scary,
That would be
dude.
scary, bro. It's like a mythical creature. Like, come
The
on, bro.
I think the those things too, like they mimic. Oh my God.
They have
Wait,
like long ass extremities and
no,
stuff.
no, no.
Like, come on, bro.
Wait, you know what I'm just thinking about too? Like they mimic they can like I think supposedly like they mimic people's voices and stuff and sound like them, so they'll like attract you into the forest by like being like, "Hey, hey," in your own voice or something. It's like really creepy, but the mimic thing just made me think of Wemby because I don't know, he encompasses and mirrors like everything that we've seen from the best players
Yeah, bro.
into one.
The
Yeah, I don't know about
Wendigo.
you. I ain't seen this before.
Nah, this is like it's like a like Sasquatch. Like it's like on this on that level of like
Mainly
myth
known in the
creature.
Appalachian Mountains, I think. It's like an
Yeah.
Appalachian Mountains kind of folklore thing.
Go find it.
You don't want to find it.
Daniel leaves GMLB to find.
Finding Wembigo.
Yeah.
The Wendigo
Finding the
doesn't want to.
next, finding the future of the NBA, the next Wembigo.
Dude, I'm
He starts
trademarking
vlogging.
that. If that gets popular, I'm gonna be so mad, bro. I better give my credit. That's what chewed your computer cord, Daniel. It's a freaking Wendigo,
Dude, this cord was $70.
bruh.
No, it wasn't 70, but it was expensive. It was like 50.
All right, well, let's go ahead. Do we want to rank together or give our own? I say we rank together and just give a final GMLB ranking.
Come to a
I mean,
consensus. I feel like a lot of our opinions aligned with this episode.
Yeah.
Maybe our number one guy doesn't have to be the same, but let's maybe pick the weakest link and put someone at number 5.
Let's just do a vote around and whatever majority is, and no arguing. You know what I mean?
Bro wants to put Shea
Sorry,
one.
dictator.
No.
Bro wants to put
I-
Shea one so
Shea,
I
bad.
actually
number
have
one.
Shea 5.
No argument.
I actually
Okay,
have Shea
Victor
5.
Stalin.
No.
You have That's exactly what I was gonna say. All right, Victor. I didn't know
Bullshit.
we were in communist China.
Why is he catching strays?
No
All right,
discussion will be had.
number 5, Shea.
Okay.
Did y'all hear that? Did Victor say Shay?
Vic
Well,
will
if he
die.
said it, then I'm saying it. Shay. Shay's
He'll
5.
die before
Yeah,
he
I'm gonna-
puts
I'm gonna
Ant
say
above
Shea.
Shea.
All right, number 4. Go.
Luka.
Luka. I was gonna say Luka. Luka was either my 5 or 4.
Ant.
I was gonna say Ant too.
And we're tied.
Well, all right.
We could just keep going. I kind of like this. We're just,
I'm open to putting Ant 4. I'll be willing to switch.
okay. Ant 4,
So
Okay.
what is that?
3.
Y'all think Luka's 3?
I
Luka's
think Luka's
3.
3.
Yeah. Lucas 3. Mm. Luka and Tatum are like, for me. I won't be mad whichever way we sway.
He's got a chip.
I mean, I'm
He does,
I'm on-
but
I'm outnumbered here, but honestly, I do think like Ant is more likely to be the future face of the NBA than Luka.
Okay,
Luka
well,
maybe-
you're outvoted 3-1
Yeah, I know.
already.
I know.
And now we're on Tatum. Sorry, that was rude.
All right.
I'm sorry.
I didn't realize we pivoted to Tatum. All right.
Okay. So what do we say for 3? Are we Luka? I voted Luka. What's the vote?
I voted Luka too.
I'm gonna say Luka.
oh well, let's just go to 2 then, or 1, because it doesn't matter what I say. All right.
Okay.
So,
2. I'm
so
going
Tatum's 2.
Wemby is 2.
Tatum's 2.
Wemby is 2.
Tatum's 2.
Tatum is 2.
But Wemby hasn't accomplished anything yet. So how could we say he's the face of the league? He
We
hasn't-
also said no. I thought the argument was who's going to be the face of the league.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's like most likely to be the first.
Okay. If we're doing that, then yeah, Tatum will be second to Wemby. But if we're doing like who has the best case right now, it's Tatum 1.
And we just forgot about LeBron.
Tatum has a good case.
Just playing.
Tatum has a really good case, but I
And a
still
chip.
think
And 4 conference appearances and 4 All NBA teams.
you
Why
you
did
do
it
make
All-Star
take
the
him so
MVP.
long to get to the finals? 4? Just playing.
Honorable.
Oh.
men-
It's gonna take the Spurs longer unless they make a move, I think. But
I
we'll
will
see, though.
I will say, like, to your point, like we're going off of like a maybe with Wemby, like a very
Yeah.
strong maybe.
Yeah. Like he hasn't done anything we've said. We said he can. He's clearly capable, but he hasn't done it yet. And like that's also why we're kind of critiquing Shea and Ant because they also haven't done anything yet, and I think that's why they're lower. But then we get to Wemby and it's like He also hasn't done anything. Why are you up here?
True, but man, he's too unique not to put him up there, dude.
True.
Yeah.
That's
True.
just
He's
me.
top 2.
But
He's top 2 easily.
Yeah.
top 2,
Okay.
but not 2. You said it.
I said we could put Tatum second. If we're going by like who will be by the time LeBron retires, assuming that's not next year, it'll be Wemby. And it still might be Wemby, even with no achievements, just because of the play. So yeah, final GMLB face of the league tier list. We're going number 5, Shai, number 4, Ant, number 3, Luka, number 2, Tatum, number 1, Wemby. And that's the final ranking. And as always, our opinion is 100% right, and yours is wrong.
And honorable mention, Matas Buzelis and Kobe White.
If Matas Buzelis can stay in the league.
I did used to tell Miles when we were roommates in college that if Kobe White went to the Celtics, he'd be the second best player. I still stand on that.
Ooh.
I said it as a joke mostly.
Not
But-
anymore. Jaylen Brown's a lot better than Kobe White.
I don't know.
So is Derek White.
Put him over
and
there.
Porzingis. Honestly,
Nah,
4.
Porzingis. Porzingis.
Healthy
Drew the
healthy
line at
Porzingis.
Porzingis.
Healthy Porzingis is better.
When was the last time we saw that? Unfortunately, it was New York. Because dang, he was so good at New York.
1770. No.
He was healthy for most of the regular season last year. He was really good. But then the playoffs and the end of the season hit. He
The
got
most
injured towards the end.
important part.
Yeah. Hey, didn't matter. Still won.
Was he really available? I seem to remember he was like, he still had his issues with availability last season too, even before the playoffs started.
I don't know. You might have a point. I don't really feel like looking it up, to be honest. But as far as I remember, he played most of the season and got hurt towards the end, came back for the playoffs and got hurt again. Is kind of how I remember it going.
I
But
remember
could-
just,
I don't know.
I just remember thinking like, oh yeah, they have Porzingis. Oh, they don't. And then being like, oh, they got him again. And then making that sound with my lips where you're just like, after he went down.
Yeah, fun times, fun times. We still won't need him to beat the Cavs, though. All right, fellas, final opinions on the list and before we end the episode.
I think we hit it out the park.
I think the list is good. I just think
Respectfully.
that the NBA is going to have multiple people for the face of the league, like similar how to LeBron, Curry, and Steph are, or LeBron, Curry, and KD.
It's like the 2K13 cover where they had KD, D Rose, and Blake Griffin. Sometimes you just need more than one. Or 2K16 where they had AD, Curry, and Harden. But all right, let's wrap up here. GMLB family, thanks for watching another episode. We thank you all for being here. We thank you for the growth on the channel. We've had a couple reels blow up that have brought a lot of new people to the. Why are you looking out binoculars? Okay, anyway, we've had a couple reels blow up that have brought people to the podcast. We appreciate you being here and we appreciate your interactions with us. But yeah, that's going to pretty much do it for us here. And we'll see you in the next one.